About the real issue. Good morning. The real issue and why all of this is happening. And is this all just a coincidence when you think about what's happening in the world? Is it just a coincidence? Because something came up on the scene in around 1848. That just so happens to be when the mud flood happened too. You know, the history of the mud flood and all that stuff. Hello, Alpha Brooks, honey. Let's talk about the real issue here. The real issue is this. This is the real issue here, right there. This is the issue. This right here, hello, Denise. Marxism is both a social and political theory and encompasses Marxist class conflict theory and Marxian economics. Marxism was first publicly formulated in 1848. Well, that's nice because there was revolutions of 1848 and we have the mud flood hypothesis. We have the mud flood hypothesis. Now, why on earth would we have a mud flood hypothesis? Look at this. The history of the flood control and drain in Illinois completed in the 1848, and we have the Marxism. 1848. Let's talk about really what's happening here. Good morning. No, 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 no. It's much deeper. This is the mud flood. This is excavations of the mud flood thing. Okay, look, see the mud flood. Kansas City wasn't built, it was excavated. It was excavated. The mud flood. The mud flood and Marxism. Now, we saw the other day that according to Marxism, they erase history. The only history is the present. That's the only history. If you go to the YouTube channel and watch the main video that's up there, the only history is the present. Forget about the past. That's their thing. 1848, the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and the French Engels, whatever. So let's see it. It's a social, political, economical, blah, 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 blah. Marxism. He looks like a devil. He looks very not nice at all. But the mud flood. The mud flood. How on earth could the mud flood get into this, you all? The mud flood, the revolutions, the mud flood. You can see, look at this, millennial kingdom, heaven barriers, the mud flood. There was also a big mud flood in something about the Mississippi in 1947. That's when Roswell happened, y'all. You're just tuning in. I think there is something there because that mud flood was meant to cover up the history. And I think that's how this came to be. If you bury it, if you get rid of all the books, because what happened with the mud flood? Didn't all these books all of a sudden, it was like in around the 1800s, all these books and things got destroyed. All the history got destroyed, is what happened. In the 1800s, there was a great big loss of history. 1800, history books destroyed. And whatever, however it happened, they burned the books. They burned the books. They had book burnings. Fire ravages the Library of Commerce in 1851. Well, it's just a few years after the Marxism, just a few years after it. A brief history. That's what they do. They hide it. They hide the history. Look, the book burning before and during the English Revolution. Well, what time was that? What year was the English Revolution? Now you see it looks like they tried it back then too. I think that this thing has been making its way around like a merry-go-round throughout the years. I really feel like it within my being. And the mud flood and the covering up of the mud flood. The hidden history. Sometime before 1848, huge worldwide mud flood. Where did the builders go? What happened to them? What happened to them sometime before 1848? Why do they have to use the word 1848? I think this is why, because it was first publicly formulated in 1848. In 1848. Good morning. Good morning, Gina. Do you like history? Now, I don't like to really do stuff like this, but I find it kind of, I don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. I don't at all. I don't believe in coincidences. Look at this. What is cultural Marxism? GOP lawmakers in Florida want the little kids and teens, the UEP Thompson Marxists, something Vietnam's, was that about? When did Vietnam occur? Well, you know what, when did it occur? Listen to Marxism. I'm trying to talk about the book burning. Let's talk about the real issue. This is the real issue. This is the real issue at play. Okay, it really is. It's the Marxism. It's the Marxism is the real issue. Now look at this. The five principles of it. The 5 principles, because they're going to erase this history too. They're going to erase the history too. The basic tenets of Marxism are the following: dialectical materialism. Well, we got some dialectical materialism. We got historical materialism, the theory of surplus value, the class of struggle, revolution, dictatorship of the proletariat, and the communism. But if you watch the video, if you go to my YouTube channel, let's see, Gina Maria. Here we go. We come over here to look at the main page. On my main channel, if I can go to my main channel, let's see where it's at. It's this video. I got to get to it. It's this right here. You got to listen to it. You've got to listen to it because it's happening. It's a 4 o'clock in the morning video right here. One day ago, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was like last night, not last night, the night before last. I woke up in the middle of the night and somehow I started looking at the gulags and stuff. And then the Marxism, then the Stalin. So the mud flood, this is what's happening. It's this right here. There is a direct correlation. There is a direct connection with Marxism, 1848, and the revolutions of 1848, the mud flood. There is a direct correlation with it. That's what I feel within my spirit. Gina, that's just your spirit. That's my spirit. That's what I feel within my spirit. A great big cover up. But that's what's happening in the world, not just America. It's worldwide. Worldwide. Who created it? Frederick. Rationalism and stuff like that. Can you see it happening? Where there's a line in a song of a Dylan wrote about Mr. Freud. Sigmund and Freud, with his dreams, Mr. Marx was his axe. Are you talking about Sigmund Freud and Marxism? Okay, let's see them. Sigmund Freud. Oh, he was a messed up man. Sigmund Freud, Freudism, Freud, and Marxism. Oh, I remember that when my husband was doing his bachelor's degree or something. He had to study that kind of stuff too. And then I don't know what he did in his master's degree, what he studied. Yeah, I heard all about it. I thought, I did not even like Freud. I didn't like Freud at all. I didn't. At all. I thought I'm not going to say that word. According to Freud, Marx erroneously attributes the trajectory of society to necessary natural law. Conceptual evolution, Freud suggests it can be attributed to a contingent factor, psychological factors such as all. Now we got it all. We got it all mixed into one another. We really do. It seems like it's all. What's the difference? They just had a difference of opinion, but were they really that different? It seems like they got enmeshed into one another. They're reconciled in a dialectical way. It's a hype beast. It's a hype beast. There's a hype beast. Psychoanalysis. Okay, you got to be nice in your comments. You know, there's a direct correlation. Of how long I've been on here. I'm a bit ready in the video. Marxism in 1848, the Communist Manifesto, right here. And we also had the mud flood that came onto the scene. We got the mud flood, the mud flood hypothesis. It's just a hypothesis. It's just a hypothesis, you all. Mud flood and hidden history. One from 1848 sold for $62,000. How come we don't know about this in our history? Did it somebody covered up the history? Look, the Tartaria. The 1890 mud flood. Tartaria in my town. Tartaria. So if you aren't aware of the mud flood is an alternative history, you all. That's all it is. The mud flood is an alternative history conspiracy. I just want to make that quite clear. It's a conspiracy history, alternative history that just so happens to coincide with this right here. Can you focus on it? It just happens to coincide with this. It does. Gina, you're drawing parallels. Am I drawing parallels? Really? Am I? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Because look at the Illinois Department. They, the flood control. They completed their flood control in 1847. Why did they have to do that? Yeah. Look at this. So a popular notion at present is the existence of a great empire covering the bulk of Asia and Russia until only 100 years ago. That was destroyed. It was destroyed. They got a mud flood. They got a mud flood. The mud flood Cincinnati. A juicy bit of evidence. A look back at what was and wasn't there in the mid-19th century, plus a very interesting wall, thanks 1848 panorama. The mud flood, revealing what has been hidden in front of our right there. In front of our what? In front of our what? Where? How? Well, in front of our. So Mexico, due to his activities early as 1848 and 49, lurid and bizarre history of its own. So could there be much more? Do you think it's a coincidence? It's just a coincidence that reared its ugly head in the 1848 and then the mud flood. Do you think it's just that? And the history books, the books. Okay, go look at this video right here. This I woke up in the middle of the night. It was actually I woke up around 2:30 and I kept staring at the Gulag and Stalin and all of that, and then I looking at the Marxism, and I just got up out of that bed finally and I did a video. That's how that happened, just like that. I don't like doing videos like that, but I did it. What happened to the history? The history got lost. The history is lost. Did I ask a question on here? It's definitely, yes, it's definitely, the books got burned. The books in the Library of Congress, books burned, got caught in the fire. What about the Vatican? Did the Vatican catch fire too? The Vatican fire of 1800, mid 1800, 1800, 1800. I'm going to see if the Vatican had a fire. I want to see if they did. There was a fire. I want to see the 1800s. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to read that. Okay, so we got the way to happen it. The books they got burnt up. If they're burnt up, you don't have access to them anymore. You really don't have access to the books anymore. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have studied this. Um, books um, gone. They just got destroyed worldwide, worldwide. 18, I just gonna say 1848. Mm, yeah, just say it. 1848. What was the biggest book burning in history? Oh, I want to know what it was. Oh, the university students in Germany, they burned over 25,000 books. The works of Jewish authors like Albert Einstein and Sigmund Freud went up in flames alongside blacklisted authors Ernest Hemingway. Maybe Sigmund Freud wasn't too whatever, but I didn't like some of the things my husband said about it. When did they burn their books? When did the Catholic Church burn their books? Oh, I want to see when they did it. What was their Catholic burning? What? When did they burn their books? Was it in the 1800s? Let me flip this around. I can't really see when it happened. I really don't know. Maybe that's something you all can look up, when they burned their books. I don't know. I don't know. The famous library that burnt down, this was the big one. This was the massive one, the Library of Alexandria. That was one of the biggest one, the infamous destruction by fire of the Library of Alexandria, with the subsequent loss of the most complete collection of ancient literature ever assembled, has been a point of heated debate for centuries. So when did the Library of Alexandria burn down? I want to know. Did somebody get the thing on here? I don't think it's going to tell the year. If you can look at it, it like burnt. They burnt it. It got burnt. There goes the history. Just right out the door. But that's 3,300 or something, 295. I believe that this has happened. This is happening. This is what's going on. 1848, Marxism and the mud flood. The mud flood. The mud flood conspiracy theory, mud flood history, 1848. 1848. The question and the narrative of it. Let me push it back here. I'm done talking. The Revolutions of 1848 and Karl Marx. Marxism. And it's literally happening right now. Excuse me. It is happening right now. You wanna give it a label? Yeah, this is the label right here. This is the label right there. That's what's happening. And Illinois finished their mud flood thing in 1848 is what happened, just like that. Well, you know what? You won't get your comment deleted and you won't get yourself blocked if you're respectful in your comments. But if you're disrespectful, you're going to get your comments deleted. And after a while, depending on what moderator looks at you, you're going to get yourself blocked. That's just how it is on this channel, because this is not a game. This is real world. We're talking about people's lives. We are. And if you want to cover up history, you only want to believe the present, because that's what Marxism does. The only history is the present history. That's what Marxism does. You go watch this video right here. Where am I at? Go watch this video. Where am I? And let me get over here to it. Go watch this video. You want to know what we talked about? This was big time eye-opening right there. You got to listen because it's happening. That's your eye-opening video. I am going to go. So with that being said, y'all, let me stand up and say my good mornings. I need to get ready for the day. With that being said, thank you for listening. And hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your morning and afternoon. Go check out that video. You go do your own research and think about these lost books, these books that are gone, the mud flood, the dates of the mud flood and stuff like that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Something just popped into my mind. Oh. Wait a minute. I want to see this really fast. Okay. This popped into my mind. The Coming Race. We read this whole entire book. Okay, we read the whole entire book. This was published in 1871. I don't know if there was an earlier thing. Do you remember that? The Vril, The Coming Race, the plot summary, the Egyptian architecture. What was it? 1891. So it wasn't that far afterward. We have something about 1862, 1842. The Vril developed his idea of the Vril against the backdrop of his long preoccupation with the occult natural forces, which were widely discussed in that time. Zenani, 1842, A Strange Story. Okay. I don't know why that popped into my mind, but we read the whole entire book, The Vril, on this YouTube channel. You can find it in a playlist. You can find it in Story Time with Gina. So, that's what I want to say. So I'm going to go, you all, and thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button because this is what's happening. This is the real issue. The mud flood, conspiracy theory, right along the time of Marxism. What happened to the history, the book burning, and the books just like disappeared, and what's happening in our world, and you can see it. So thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please give this video a thumbs up on your way out. Thank you for joining this channel. Thank you, moderators, for everything. You all have a wonderful rest of your morning. And if you got things to do, get them done. Get everything done that you can get done. Get yourself in action. Put yourself in gear. You are running out of time. Love you.